Welcome back to Lucore Automotive Services. Today I'm working on a 2017 Yukon XL. This thing was towed down to me from up north. This customer had a concern. He was driving down the road. The truck felt weird, sluggish. He had just had a transmission put in this thing last year. So he took it into the dealer and he's like, hey, this thing runs like poop. It feels like transmission's not doing what it needs to do. It's not running right. Can you take a look at it? They're like, sure. So they took a look at it and road test for transmission concern, engine performance issue, scan for SES light, P0324 knock sensor performance, inspect visible wiring. Two knock sensors appears okay. Engine probably misfiring. Possibly misfiring. Road test and monitor misfires. All cylinders showing misfires. Check catalytic converters for rattling. Engine also ticking on bank 2, right side. Remove valve cover. Found number 4 intake push rod bent and damaged. Will need lifters replaced and possible camshaft. That's tragic because you have to pull the heads to do the lifters in this truck. Well, let's get this thing pulled inside, take a look at it, and see what's what. Why does it have an intake push rod bent? And let's find out if the intake valve is okay. Well, let me get in the shop, we'll take a look at it. Click like, subscribe, leave us a comment below. Let's do a diagnostic on a engine misfire on a 2017 GMC. Push rod straighten itself? It's not missing. Oh, the plot thickens. Oh, look at that. Now this truck is driven a lot. Darren, the owner, travels around and sells equipment. And he uses this truck to do it. This truck has 141,000 miles on it. And it just got a transmission put in it last year when it broke down in, I don't remember where it broke down, but it broke down and stuck him there for 7 days. Well, let's pull codes. It's weird that it's not misfiring right now, though. It's kind of awkward. My scan tool. Wow, we got a lot of codes in this. Engine light on. Well, I know what I'm driving home tonight. This car. So this has codes in it probably from when the technician had it apart. It has a mass airflow sensor, circuit low frequency, so that could have been unplugged while and the key was turned on, which also set a knock sensor module performance. That might have been there before. It also has ignition coil 2, 4, 6, and 8. Control circuit test failed, so more than likely this stuff was disconnected and the key was turned on. I currently do not have an engine light, and I currently do not have any misfires. Let's go into misfire and look at those real quick. So I will write down all of my codes that were in here. I will clear them, then I'll test drive the vehicle to see if I can get the customer's concern to act up again. They wrote it up as a bent push rod and recommended a new engine. I think Darren's going to be happy that he paid a tow company $350 to send this truck down to me to take a second look at it. So we'll go into engine, we'll go into data display, we'll go into misfire data. Let's see what the computer tells us. Well, that's interesting. So currently, we have no misfire data. So number 2, number 4, number 6, number 8, number 2, number 4, number 6, number 8, history. We have misfire current and misfire history for 1357, which is the driver's side bank. And you probably can't see this, but it's zeros all the way down, which means maybe the codes were cleared. But according to the... Oh, I set it down somewhere. This invoice states engine possibly misfiring. All cylinders showing misfires. Nope. Ticking on bank 2, right side. Well, these are commonly ticking is usually like exhaust manifold bolts, but it's not even doing that right now. No, all the exhaust manifold bolts are there, so that's not a problem. A lot of the earlier 5.3s, it would pop an exhaust manifold bolt. It breaks a bolt off. You have to remove the manifold, extract the remainder of the bolt, and you put it back together. The replacement bolts are actually better quality than the originals. And when your exhaust manifold bolt breaks, it creates an exhaust leak, which is an annoyance in the driver's compartment, but it also can create a false lean reading, so the engine will overfuel. It can actually kill cats. It will cause poor fuel efficiency. Really should be something that if your exhaust manifold's leaking, it really should be fixed, because it's going to cost you more in the long run if you don't fix it. We'll just leave it at that. So back to our story here. Engine also ticking on bank 2, right side. Remove valve cover, found number 4 intake push rod, bent and damaged. Will need lifters replaced and possible camshaft. Declined. Good idea. Engine replacement, $10,264.35. Yeah, I wouldn't have paid that amount either. So recommendation 1 was cam and lifters, $6,383.52. Declined. Second recommendation, engine replacement, $10,264.35. Declined. So this truck currently, 3 of 22, this will tell you how much he drives. 3 of 22, he spent $7,000 on a 3-year warranty transmission, which I believe is a GM warranty. And that was at 119,000 miles. So, he's not too bad. He's putting less miles on this one than his last car. New shocks and struts. That was $2,000, 11 of 22. So yeah, I can see why he didn't want to put $16,000 into it, is what they quoted him, because they were going to do the cam and lifters to see if the engine was okay, and then put an engine in it if it wasn't. So I don't know, I'm not feeling it. What do you guys think? So this thing's been running now for, I don't know, a while. And I haven't seen a misfire yet. You know, bent push rod doesn't fix itself, by the way. Just gonna leave that out there. Engine run time, 14 minutes, 30 seconds. So this thing's been running for 15 minutes. It's not shown a misfire. I can guarantee they did not put a push rod in this because they didn't charge him for it. They charged him what looks like 2 hours labor to tell him it needed an engine. So I'm going to clear our codes. I'm going to write down our codes. Find a pen. And then And then is that a stumble? And I can see misfire in all cylinders from a fuel pump going bad with 141,000 miles. Is this car going to leave me stranded on my way home tonight? That is a good question. It's not misfiring. Let's write down our codes. I'll be right back. Engine oil's full. Well, this is awkward. How can I say this politely? I don't know. I'm not gonna jump to any conclusions. I'm gonna drive the car and see if I can get it to act up. But my initial thought is somebody's gonna be losing their job at a dealership for trying to basically rob somebody of $6,000 to $12,000. And I personally have a problem with that because it's people that do that kind of crap that makes everybody in this industry look bad. It's really, really, really sad. I don't know. Maybe something will turn up, but it's wrote up as a bent push rod. Push rods don't straighten themselves out. So I thought it was a little odd when the tow driver dropped it off. And I'm like, hey, you can put it in that spot over there, or I can move that truck so it's easier for you to get it in. And he's like, oh no, it runs fine. I'll just drive it over there. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, I thought it had a misfire and ran like poo. He's like, no, it ran fine for me. Oh, okay. Nice. Well, at least I get to do a test drive in a 2017 Yukon XL and find out how much my wife's going to want me to get one of these, because these things are really nice. They're expensive, but they're worth every penny. I owned a 2000 Yukon XL, put 200,000 miles on it. Did basically maintenance and upkeep. I put an alternator and a water pump on it at 100,000 miles, and I sold it at 196,000 miles. It retired up to Lake Erie to tow a guy's boat to and from the boat lift. It's a good truck, though. All right, let me pull this thing outside. I'm going to take the scan tool home with me so I can read any codes if I need to. Hopefully it's not a fuel pump issue. But the good news is I don't think it needs an engine. So that's kind of awkward. Kind of really awkward. This is a Buick GMC dealer. This is looking awful bad. I wonder how many engines they sell at this dealership. I wonder if they have a higher ratio of engine sales than other places. It's not looking good. I'm going to drive this thing home. I'm going to take the scan tool with me, and if it leaves me stranded, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm going to guess that I'm going to be back here in the morning right on time, or at least right on the time that I get here, because I don't necessarily get here on time every day. But the truck runs pretty good. Well, I drove this beast home last night. No noises, no misfires. After doing some research, this 5.3 engine with the active fuel management has a known history with failed lifters. More than likely it had one lifter stick and then it just freed itself up, which usually doesn't happen. But that's most likely the culprit of the ticking noise that this was taken in for and the misfire that it was taken in for. I spoke with Darren, the owner, and he said that it was ticking, and then when he went to load it onto the tow truck, it fired up and it was not ticking, and he thought that was odd himself. But we do have a code, a recurring code for catalyst efficiency, P0430. And this morning when I fired it up, it actually went into limp mode and kicked a 2101, which is a throttle actuator code. So it's probably going to need a throttle body, which is a pretty common failure on this truck. But we will keep an eye on this for now and see if it can act up again for a lifter collapse. And then we'll make a choice from there, but I don't think it needs an engine, and I definitely don't think it needs a camshaft. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer on that. I will probably go ahead, pull it inside, and pull the valve cover to see if it actually has a bent push rod, because that seems to be not logical. But we'll find that out here soon enough. Let's get it inside. 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to pull both my rockers off of number 4. We'll pull our push rods out and inspect those. It does have a bent push rod. Well, that restores my faith in humanity. You can see that the push rod is bent. Very strange scenario that it's running fine now. It's odd that a push rod would get bent in this situation. But hey, the dude was telling the truth. He was not lying about a bent push rod. So, more than likely the lifter failed and it bounced and did something bad. Bent the push rod. Seems to be running fine now. I'm going to put a push rod in it. See what happens. New push rod. New straight push rod. So this is a common failure, well, semi-common failure. There is a technical service bulletin out on it. It involves, the bent push rod is a result of the lifter being stuck in the mechanically collapsed position. And I was told that you may or may not need a camshaft with this, but we're going to put a push rod in it because I've already been driving it with the bent push rod and it's been just fine. And we're going to see if the camshaft comes apart. So let me stick these in here, take it for another test drive, and we'll get things moving. We're busy at work. Click like, subscribe, leave us a comment below. Thanks for coming along for the ride. We'll let you know what happens with this thing. Drove down the street, seems to be good. Drive it home, put some miles on it, see how she does. teach me to jump to conclusions. We get a lot of vehicles in here that have been diagnosed by other people and they're incorrectly diagnosed. It was refreshing to see one diagnosed correctly that had been push rod, which was hard to believe because it was running so good and it didn't have any codes. So no big deal. Little egg on my face for that one. I'll take it. I accept responsibility when I am wrong. New push rod's installed. We're gonna put some miles on it and see how it works out. And we'll go from there. You guys have a safe day.